Hello, dear friends. Here we are. 10 exercises on peacemaking skills. Who doesn't need deeper awareness on how to manage our daily emotions and create a new habit? In the book Thought in Life by Emilio, through the spirit Chico Xavier, we get to know the beauty of understanding more about the importance of creating new habits. Evolution requires new habits, and that's why we're here now. For many lives, we have been feeling many things and not necessarily knowing what we're feeling and what to do with what we're feeling. In this life, thanks to this new awareness, we're invited to manage our emotions and our thoughts in a different way. And you're welcome to join us as we are entering this new day or new evening or night on our 11th hour, today dedicated to cooling anger to achieve peace. Okay? And as we march towards it, we're inviting our dear friend Shane Martin to join us. Thank you, Shane.
Hi, Vanessa.
Yes.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you and with our 11th hour Spiritist, International Spiritist Center.
You
And
know
to
it.
join us.
Thank you, Shane. And for those who haven't met Shane, she is a friend since Baltimore. She used to attend the center in Baltimore. She's also a neuroscientist and a nurse. And she now lives in Richmond, in the state of Virginia. Richmond is actually the capital of the state of Virginia in the United States of America. And she, after years, she's also a member of the Spiritist Society of Virginia. And she recently gave another step incorporating the former group, now Spiritist Society of Richmond. You want to give them the Facebook page and the website, Shane?
Yes, absolutely. So we are here in Richmond, Virginia, and we meet publicly every third Sunday of each month. About 3:30 p.m. We have a regular, a talk and passes and counseling for whoever needs it. Our website is ssrichmond.org. And on Facebook, you're just going to type facebook.com/Spiritual Society of Richmond. And I'll be happy to be in touch with you. And if you decide to come here and see us, we'll be happy to know you're there if you know anyone who might be of interest and be in need of help.
Thank you, Shane. And here it is, right? ssrichmond.org.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. And today we are here in this collaboration. Shane is going to help us with a theme that it pertains to all of us. Who can raise your hands and say, I don't feel anger at all? And not even a discarnate spirit can claim that. All right. So today we're going to learn how to manage. We're going to learn also why anger is here in our lives. Why does it need to exist? Because it has a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And what we at the human level, what we can do. And the importance of managing and cooling this anger so we can really achieve a more peaceful life. So before we begin, we say hi to those who are already here. If you're entering and we haven't said your name, but sometimes we have a glitch in the sys, but don't mind. We want you to feel loved and embraced and part of a big classroom in a Spiritist Center where we are joining this hour of practice, like the deepest practice of awareness, right? So hello, Lea Severo. How are you? It's good to have you here and to have you on board at Cardiac Radio. Beatriz Santiago, how are you, my friends? And I can't believe Roni Lamar is here. Roni, Shane, I met Roni many, 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 many
Mhm.
years ago, probably in previous lives too, but in this life, at a Spiritist event that Fabiana Moura and Roni Lamar were putting together when they had the study group there in Davis, California. It's good to see you here, Roni, and to be in touch with you. Welcome, welcome. Jailton, how are you? Karina, beautiful Karina, I saw your message. Forgive me, friends, I see the messages, but Virginia, don't jump on the couch. Virginia, come back here. And like between like seeing the message and answering, there's a lag. She needs to go to sleep. We need to finish this hour and then I can answer the message. So, Sunshine, how are you? And yes, Ronnie, here we are. So, friends, Shane Martin is here with us, and we're going to first begin by reading a little bit of two spirit messages that were um, released and published at Kardec's time. They were brought in by mediums at Kardec's time, and this is a parenthesis for us. You observe that the mediums' names are not here in any of the books, which is great. There are reasons to protect them at the time from the persecutions, but it's also good. And that probably we need more of this at the current time on the earth. Sometimes people pay more attention to the medium than to the elevated spirit and the message. So we really need to go to the back to the core of Kardec's foundation and focus on the message. Two messages that we're reading here were brought in by spirits, illuminated spirits undoubtedly, of high stature on the earth. And both of them addressed a topic that is so current, anger. One is a protector spirit that literally is trying to protect us from our own mismanagement of emotions. And the other one is the unsurpassing missionary Hahnemann. Hahnemann, the father of homeopathy, right, Shane? Shane is in the field of medicine, and is she is not only a sympathetic. You embrace homeopathy too, right, Shane?
Absolutely. I wish more people would do it. And there is a lot of good work being done out there with research into homeopathic remedies. And a lot of different, I guess, the visionary physicians have adapted that to their portfolio of what can be used when we actually have our physical body in need of help. So unfortunately, we're not there yet, but we make progress slowly. It took us thousands of years to be here. It'll take us a little bit more day by day. Hopefully, medicine will be more integrative and it will be healing more than curative. But we are projecting the future here with the good spirits.
You're right, and we need to keep working at that end to really manifest the change that will happen. But anger here, where it talks about the cause, the first message will talk about the roots of anger. Where do they lie? Right? Angelita is here with us, and Adilson is here with us, beloved friends of the Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society. So, Shane, I would like to kindly ask you to please lead us into reading, the first message.
All right.
If you want to stop and we comment, feel free to.
I'll be. So, the Gospel, according to Spiritism, chapter 9, item 9, anger. Pride leads you to deem yourselves to be more than you really are. You cannot endure any comparison that might belittle you. On the contrary, pride makes you consider yourselves to be so far above your brothers and sisters, whether in spirit, social position, or personal advantage, that the least parallel irritates and hurts you. And then what happens? You give in to anger. Seek the origin of these outbursts of temporary insanity that make you resemble brutes, cause you to lose your poise and your reason. Seek, and you will find that they are almost always based on wounded pride. Is it not wounded pride at being contradicted that makes you reject wise remarks and makes you angrily reject the wisest counsels? Even impatience, which often causes puerile annoyances, is connected to the importance that one attributes to one's person, before which one thinks everyone else should bow down. Wow.
Wow. Wow. But it's so real and it's so current. We're seeing leaders in the world behaving just like this, right? Using Twitter to express their anger and thinking that everybody needs just to surrender to their feet as if they were semi-gods or true gods on the earth. So here we have, friends, the opportunity of meditating about these facts. And the question is, if the leader of XYZ countries are behaving like this, that's between God and them. But if we do it, so question to all of us, where are we in regards to our pride or ego? Scale 0 to 10, 0 being not doing good at all, and 10 being excellent. Where are we regarding our pride and ego? Don't be shy, because the more awareness you have about it, the quicker we can tame it. It's like a wild horse. If we don't say, I don't want to see it, don't see it, take your lasso and come here, stay cool. Right, Shane?
Yes, Vanessa, and we talked about seek the origin of these outbursts. Knowing ourselves is the answer to question 119 of the Spirit's book. How can we progress faster? And then knowing ourselves involves knowing the difference between what I'm feeling and what the other person is feeling. And like we were talking before, it doesn't mean not feeling anything. So we all have egos. They have a good and bad ways of manifesting. And for many lives, we've had pride and compared ourselves with others. And then it will take us a little bit longer to tame it and discipline it and obey what God wants for us here. And of course, we all talking about the pride that is not helpful. Not be proud of the accomplishments that you've had in life, but just thinking that because I have these or the other title or possession, or I work in a higher position than someone else, that's when we need to take a look at ourselves and make sure that I don't think I'm better than everyone else in my family, especially in the Spiritist group. Our work, we know it's a problem. We're trained to be more than others, to think that we have this position than the others. And also in the Spiritist groups, where having a title of these or have a function of that doesn't mean we have more merit than the people who are not actually a presenter or a president or a treasurer, which is just the temporary concessions that we've had. Our titles, our intelligence, our body is all given to us by God. So it doesn't come from us. We should use it to good.
Yeah, exactly. And as you're mentioning, we want really to emphasize that, friends. When we talk about the importance of emotional management, We become good at managing our emotions when we are aware of them. Some people, there is a myth in humanity that people who are emotionally intelligent, who have high levels of emotional intelligence, they don't feel negative emotions. Mistaken. They are mistaken because at our level, we will feel inevitably emotions like anger because they are deeply rooted in our physiology, not the body only, but the physiology of the mind, as André Luiz says in the book Mechanisms of Mediumship through Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira. He mentions that we have these instincts, and they are instincts of preservation. And we have been feeling them for many, 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 many lives because it's something that really brings us to the alert feeling moment in our lives to preserve our identity. The problem is when we allow it to stay there and be used to shield us, thinking that we are the center of the universe. And that's why the spirits are saying anger, which is fed by pride at human level, not at animal level. Because animals feel anger, but their anger is pure instinct of preservation. In us, it's a mismanaged instinct of preservation that needs to be tamed by our reasoning. So you don't disappear with anger, you manage it. How? By observing. Oh, what am I feeling? Anger. If you deny it, it's worse. This is anger. Yes, I'm angry. I'm frustrated. That's why we recommend everybody to buy or acquire the Dictionary of Emotions by the Onion Head Company. Because we need to know the names of emotions in order to tame them. If we don't name them, if we don't identify them, we cannot change them. That's why it's important to tell your children the big names of emotions. Oh, but they're little. Yes, but that's how. You can't tell to a child like, oh, what are you feeling? How will they know? Nobody taught them. But if you teach them what you're feeling now, they're starting a tantrum, right? What you're feeling now is frustration because you want something and you're not getting it. Now you're angry. It's okay, it's valid, but breathe in and out. You can work on it. And then you don't need to do timeouts. You don't need to ground the child, believe it or not, because you're giving from the get-go the opportunity. But we need to do it with ourselves. For example, you wake up in the morning. You have a list of things to do. Everything starts coming off the track. As you step, not even out of the bed, when you get the phone, so to see the clock, you're like, oh, I missed this. And then, oh my gosh. And then there's the anxiety, there's the frustration, there is a lot of emotions. Breathe in, go to the mirror, brush your teeth, and say, that's okay. Let me pray. Literally. Not saying that we will be feeling it, but we know what we're feeling. That's the concept of emotional administration. We know what we're feeling and we are observing it so we can go to the next step. What do I do with it now? Do I keep? Because sometimes, sincerely, if you need a promotion and out of whatever reason you're not giving, sometimes keep that healthy frustration to fuel your goal, not to smash anybody. But I'm going to tell you right what happened to me once. I'm not a role model, but just to give you a reference. I remember one of my bosses at the University of Maryland said, well, by July 1st, if you do this, that, and the other papers, I'll promote you to the other ranking of professorship. I said, okay. So I worked and worked. And when it came to the date, we had a meeting and he didn't touch the subject. I didn't feel exactly anger, but I felt like, no. I said, you promise it, you fulfill it. And he smiled and said, take it easy. I said, no taking it easy. You promise, you fulfill it. It's July 1st. So now the next step is yours. Period. Is it pride? No. It's firmness. But to feel this firmness, you need to feel the confidence, which is important. And you need to feel some form of alertness, not necessarily anger. But you say, hold on. We need to fight for what is right. It's so beautiful when we see the spirit chain telling Kardec that evil usually conquer lots of grounds on the earth because it's daring. But when it comes to do the good, we're often very shy. No, but Jesus didn't teach that. He taught self-confidence with kindness. Self-confidence and kindness is a combination that is yet to be clearly seen on the earth, because usually we see the extremes. Self-confidence with anger, and we see kindness with shyness. Right?
Yes, it's a difficult balance, and if you read all the books like Born of Good News or Jesus in the Home, you're gonna see that Jesus was always calm, kind, let people do their thing. But then when it came time to discipline and teach, he had that, he was always smiling with his eyes, and we can even imagine how that is yet. But he never felt anger. He never let the anger of others contaminate his state of mind. And it's very easy to feel angry with everything and anyone, because we have, like you said, you have the biological basis inside our heads to feel this emotion and to respond to it, like you said, for survival. But the beauty of the brain is that although, the fight and flight response is a more deeper areas of our brain, speaking for the ones who don't know the brain as we do, as we scientists have studied it, we have a part here in the front of our heads called prefrontal cortex that can modulate the anger response. So even though there is a mechanism like highways for the information to go from one piece to the other in your brain, you can modulate, you can regulate that. So we can't despair. There is a biological basis, a need for, as our animals' instincts. But you can also work on it. So every day that you work on, okay, today I feel anger, take a deep breath, relaxation response, say a prayer, so you connect to your guardian angels. And then every day that connection of modulation of anger gets stronger because you're working those pathways in your head. So then next time, instead of feeling anger, you're not going to act on the anger, but you're going to, be more coherent with what you're feeling and what you're saying to people and how you're showing yourself, which is, I was looking at, I'm going to look here, my notes was on item 6 for the same chapter, coherence, because we can look, and it's not just about looking calm and composed, but feeling. So being coherent with what's inside.
Exactly. And as Shane is reminding us, it takes steps. It's steps. So today we are feeling anger, and afterwards we say, okay, I'm going to cool it down. There will be a day in which we will be about to feel anger and we already start feeling it, but we were aware of it earlier at the onset of anger. And there will be days in which we're going to feel anger. And then we're like, no, 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 I don't want to go there. And there will be days we won't feel anger anymore. But that's a day, don't dream about that day yet. We are now dreaming about knowing what to do with it. It's like we want, at this point, we want to decrease the time we spend feeling angry by going to the core. The core, the spirits say, is my pride. How come people, how can they do this to me? It's pride, 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 pride. So we want to go there and say, you know what? Jesus is our reference. Remember when he was talking to Peter about the woman who was set free and was about to be stoned? And then another woman came by and started telling Peter. She didn't tell anything to Jesus. And Jesus is the Messiah. He didn't take offense. How come? She's talking to Peter, but I am the Messiah. She should be talking to me. And then he goes through the whole pathway with them, doesn't say a word, and only intervenes when asked. But he's there throughout the process. So humility is a tool to prevent anger and also to cool it down. But let me go back here to an important question that our dear friend Rudy asked. How to tame anger in children? The spirit friends have been answering to this question in the programs that we have for babies and toddlers. And they say, it all begins, of course, with the parents, because we cannot model something if we don't know ourselves. So we need to be aware of it. And sincerely, Mentor Joseph told me several times, Vanessa, if you see yourself acting on anger and Virginia's around, you explain to her and say that you're wrong, that you should be calmer, and you tell her that if it's about her, you're sorry. And that's how you do it. But if it's them, you tell them breathe in and out. It's okay. And you don't allow them to be repressed. You let them express. Then you say, hold on. You don't need this. You're angry. Yes, because you're this. Okay, but look, remember, you reincarnated to learn to do good. And what you think you're going to do is not good for you now. So talking, explaining, bringing to their awareness as early as possible is very important. There are babies that are born and they express anger.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. They are. And that's why St. Augustine in the chapter 14th in the Gospel According to Spiritism, he says, you need to observe from the get-go at the crib. And I would say, from the belly. When the mom studies that relationship with the baby, you can tell. You can tell. And you can already start that relationship with the baby. Okay? So, with the little kids, you talk to them. But you know, a good technique, and I think Shane can vouch for this, is because of the physiological mechanism. She was mentioning the fight and flight, which is about the sympathetic, parasympathetic system. If you're the parent, hold the child, not trying to repress, but with caring. and caress them, because this releases calming molecules saying, come here. How often Virginia was upset and she was like, Mom. And she was upset with me because I said no. And I said, I know you're upset with mommy, right? But come here with me. Like, Virginia, let's take a shower. And then she was like, no. And I said, now we have to go. You know it's important. And I said, come with mom. And she knows I'm not power struggling with her. She knows. So our deepest intentions and vibrations will be teaching them more than our words. Kindly telling them, I love you. And that's why I'm frustrating you. Because you need to be frustrated. Life is a lot about frustration. But learn that life is doing this to you out of love. You're not here. You're not here but to serve God. But to help people. And that's how we deal with it. So Jailton is also saying, Shane, being irritable is in some situations qualify as anger. Shane, what would we say? Being irritable or irritated.
Well, being irritated can be a response to what someone else is doing to you, but you don't necessarily, like they say here, you're going to be angry at them. So you can be irritated with someone at work or at home, with something that they do. It's like the first step for you to be angry at them and take that personally. They may be doing it against you. Because, you want a little bit, well, when we were in the animal kingdom, you want that, if you see a mother with the babies, if another animal is approaching, they want to be angry, right? So they can save those babies for the future and the genes. Well, with us, we will be angry at people. And sometimes we are irritated at people because in psychology, you know this better than I do, but we identify in them things we don't like or approve on ourselves. So they irritate us. They do things that makes us not be so pleasant. And I thought I saw something here about looking, finding, and when you get irritated at someone, the best thing to do would be to look at them and see them as Emmanuel says in the book, Fought in Life, seek the good, mold the good, feel the good. And I never get the sequence right. It's all in there.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right, Shane. And, Sunshine is mentioning something here. Marshall Rosenberg of Compassionate Conversation links every negative emotion to an unmet need. There's a list of universal human needs, which is very eye-opening. When we learn to connect the two, the knot opens up. It's amazing. Thank you, Sunshine, for mentioning this. But you see, it's an unmet need of the primitivity of us. So it's a very good assessment. Who is here requesting something? Because we'll never end the power struggling with people in our lives if we keep feeding our own personal needs. That's why the spirits told Kardec, if you want to be connected with higher spirits, the secret is selflessness and humility. Selflessness and humility. So we need to learn how to shift our needs. Shift our needs so the negative emotions can also be dissolved. So instead of, I need my house, and then the other person needs the same house, and now we're going to power struggle. Okay, I don't need it. Gone. No, Vanessa, yes. Remember when I talked about the promotion? I wouldn't power struggle. If he said, no, 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 you didn't do it, but I did, it was a deal. Now, let's go there. What if he had said, I'm not going to promote you in spite of it all? Okay. Then I would find another job somewhere else. It's his right, but it's my right too. But we all need to revisit our needs. How many people were friends and they are no longer friends just because the needs that they were cherishing changed? There is no longer affinity. And then negative emotion. No, we need to learn how to dissolve the negativity by detaching. And this is what detaching really means. Detaching from the passing personality. You and I are temporarily in this position, as Shane said. And I don't need people to come to me and say, oh, no, no, no. Even Jesus didn't request that. But it's about, what can I do to help you evolve? If my proposal and my personal need is constantly fed by the thought of, what can I do to help you grow? With anybody that I meet, rarely I'll be feeling negative emotions for too long. They will come and go briefly. And I won't sink into resentment. But here in the message that Shane was reading, we want to quote something quite special, which is still in item 9, second to last paragraph. If people or persons would realize that anger does not solve anything, and that it affects their health and compromises their life, they would see that they themselves are its primary victim. Right, Shane, talking about health?
Yes.
Damage of anger to health.
And I think that we need to remember that we are, we have the body and we have the perispirit and we have our spirit. And in our perispirit, all that anger, not just the physical health, but also that is going to be stored in the memories, or have been stored for many lives. And then the moment we realize we are angry and we work on it, we also help ourselves be healthier, both on a physical level and a spiritual level. Recently, I was listening to Haroldo Dutra Dias, and he was telling a message that I think you've shared here of Chico Xavier. He got angry. It was one few times because he was a person. If you watch Divaldo's lecture, he talks about his anger, his disappointment, because we are all on earth. That this person who did something to the dog he liked, trying to help him. And then he was angry and sad and kept that feeling within him. And Emmanuel came and said, this is affecting our works. Mm-hmm. And then he guided Chico towards making amends. And Haroldo Dias describes in details where the moment Chico gave this person the gift that she wanted, that he could barely afford, right? He said that it made installments for like the next 10 reincarnations because it was a very expensive thing. That the moment that person hugged Chico, her feelings of happiness erased those I think he said spots on his heart. So not only you get angry, you get a higher heart rate, higher respiratory rate, higher hormones in you, you make all wound up, that eventually, if that's chronic, will lead you to feel sick. But also, we are multidimensional, so that will also be on our spirit. Who knows how many of those we've been carrying from previous life to this life. And we definitely don't want to take the ones here to the next life. Oh, yeah. So we work better. We work on being better ourselves.
Right. That's a good reminder. And Sunshine is saying his model is either gives empathy, opens our hearts, which is more important than actually meeting the need. Then we can move on. When we are angry, we are at a more primal level, which is when this model fits well. It promotes peace. It's one step from where we can graduate ultimately, of course. Thank you, Sunshine, for sharing that. But for us here in some, the spirits say anger does not exclude certain hearts of the heart, certain qualities, but it keeps one from practicing much good and can lead to practicing much evil. This is very interesting because we often tend to be extremist. If somebody's very calm and easy, oh, they're an angel. The minute they show anger, like, oh my God. And we forget about the qualities. And we do the same with ourselves. We feel angry at somebody and we go to sleep feeling bad about ourselves. Emmanuel mentions that in the book Thought and Life, talking about how what we do makes us feel good or bad about ourselves. But then, again, it's an opportunity for us to know where we are and what we need to do to go to the next level. That's all that is. Okay, big deal. Now, thank you, God, for showing me exactly where I am. Now I'm going to work specifically on taming this and learn what Andrea Louise says, the triggers. The stimulus that triggers more often your anger. If you could make a list of 3 items, what would they be? What usually in your daily life triggers your anger? 3 main scenarios. Because once you identify, you prepare yourself and you program yourself to take a different route. Mentor Joseph once taught me, Vanessa, trust in us as we trust in you. We're going to teach you. So there are days, for example, I'll give you a true scenario. There are days, for example, I was at work and I needed to talk to somebody and it needed to be professionally kind. And I didn't want to show frustration or anger, not only to show, but I didn't want to feel. I said, there was a time I said, I don't know how to do it. I prayed. The mentor just said, let me show you the way. Breathe in and out. Trust your divine essence. And trust that the person is also divine. And I was there open-hearted. And through the guidance, he said, observe your tone of voice. Observe how you're looking at the person, your gestures, and in those the body language, you're emitting already a stimulus that will cause a response from the person. So this is a training that we need to do every day. And especially about ourselves. So, okay. And then at the end of the day, it was great. It was fantastic. And we learned that in this partnership with our guardian angels, we can almost make miracles happen. I know they don't actually exist, but miracles in the sense of the unexpected, the unknown, the good one can come true. So we need to refine this relationship and say, I don't know how to do this, but please show me the way. You know what I'm feeling, right? Guardian angel, you know? Please help me here. Help me to cool it down and to make me feel that I'm safe. Because often people think that they will conquer a lot of things by being rude, rough, angry, and very animalistic. We're seeing that nowadays in the news. But actually, it doesn't go too far. And we'll see very soon, many things will be debunked. It's just a short living behavior, right? It doesn't sustain itself, right, Shane?
We certainly hope it does not. It is. I certainly hope that it doesn't, because we are all in this together. So we need to recognize how we feel, how we respond to the stimuli that is coming to us in written form. Listen, that's why it's important to have good books around you, to listen to Kardec radio, and read Kardec. And when you identify the triggers, maybe the trigger that we just wrote down, I actually wrote down two, and then you're prepared. And you don't contribute to that state of craziness, quite frankly. So when people think they can say and do whatever they feel like and there's no consequences, so we cannot feed into that. We can tame ourselves and we can choose what we see on the internet to be a little less stimuli, to be calmer. And I feel like we back to be in touch with our breathing. Even if you read 10 books and remember nothing, remember to breathe, because we usually have shallow breaths and we are holding our breath. And then, the moment you recognize you're irritable or you're angry or something is happening that is going to upset you, you step back into yourself and you breathe. And you take a Jesus at Home book, and where Jesus is always smiling. Sometimes you don't have to answer that person. Let them talk, and you smile, and you breathe. And, like, guardian angel, please help me, I'm losing it. And you keep breathing. And it takes, sometimes if you have time every day, you can take 5 minutes with yourself, and you just breathe, and you choose a word, and you repeat that. Then you start to identify how, the train of thought, you slow the craziness of your thoughts, that you're always thinking many different things at a time, and you focus on what's happening in front of you. Is the big word of the day, is mindfulness. Yeah. So that you are, and of course, I'm not saying tomorrow we're all going to be the Dalai Lama and be mindful and beautiful and radiate peace, but every day, today I tried, tomorrow, and the challenges will come. The people who make us angry will be there. And every day you do a little bit. And if you don't, the other guests have said the same thing. You forgive yourself. Because what counts really is trying to be better. Yeah. We didn't get to this reincarnation. We didn't start as a human soul yesterday. So many, many lifetimes. So we hope that we shorten, our problems that we bring with us to the next life. Yeah. But be in touch with your breathing. That would be like automatically your heart rate will go down. And then, like Vanessa said, the other people will identify that you're calming down. So instead of raising your voice, you lower your voice. Because then if they're angry and screaming, they must stop so they can listen to what you're saying. If you yell back at them, unless if you lower your voice, you breathe, or you just smile and let them talk. And let it go. Let it go.
That is good.
Have a child, let it go. Everyone have a niece, let it go.
You're right.
Disney is helping the children. Let it go. As we didn't have maybe this kind of education growing up, but we can work on ourselves. That's the item 10 talks a little bit about how we can reform our own nature.
And that the body does not cause anger. Hanima is saying, don't blame your body. Some people say, but that's my nature. I am an angry person. My body is like this. No, poor body. Take it easy. The body is not the cause. Let me just go back here. Nina Dewey, thank you. She's talking about the emotional management, the body language, and you're right. If we refine our skills, we can always promote greater understanding. It's about conflict management, right, Nina? And Rudy is saying, I believe fear can be a trigger for anger. Again, Rudy, fear is deeply rooted in our lack of awareness that we are children of God. So fear is very primal. Fear is one of the most primitive emotions that we feel, and it's deeply rooted in our instinct of preservation. But once we know, different from, for example, a mouse that is afraid of a snake, that pertains. For us, other fears, when we have a greater understanding of life, like the one that is promoted by Spiritism, our fears will be administrated one by one, little by little, and anger sometimes can be a shield to those who are afraid. So they are afraid and they shield themselves with anger. And you see, when you study behavior, I remember the drawings by Darwin, for example. When we study behavior, we observe that even the reactions when the animal is angry is to show that he's bigger than he is, exactly for this reason. For example, a cat. The dorsum of the cat goes up, the piloerection, like the hair going up, the ears, the tail, and the mouth opens, the teeth appears, and the cat looks bigger than it is. Anger. Because there is, of course, a need to preserve. Soon after, very likely, you'll be angry to preserve yourself, and that's not good. That's why we need to observe, what am I feeling now? And as Shane is reminding us, breathe in and out. And you know the song we teach the kids, right? The wheels of the heart go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels of the heart go round and round to God. And if you're a little angry, that's okay. Let us pray. So that's okay. It's okay. There is a book by Thich Nhat Hanh. He talks about anger, cooling your emotions, cooling the anger, because anger has a purpose. But the problem is, when we're humans, if we allow it to go wild, we'll suffer the consequences. So what do we do to achieve peace? Self-control. We even tell the children, remember self-control. Breathe in and out. But you need to practice every day and every night. A good technique I'm going to tell you, we learned, actually was boosted by Carlos with Virginia. Every night before we say the prayer with her, we practice mindful breathing. Of course, she doesn't know I'm going to do mindful breathing. Let's breathe, Virginia, very deeply, and then we count. How many breaths do you want? Oh, 20. Okay. From 1 to 10. And then we do like, breathe in, 1. Practice every night. Practice, right, Jayoto? As Shane explained, breathing and praying, it works wonders. So, Shane, I know you've beautifully translated another message from a book that is not yet in English. You want to share that with us?
I can. This is the book, I guess, Right Path. Right Path, my free translation. And the message is, when facing peace would be the translation for me. So understanding patience in the light of science of peace. Do not seek peace at a distance, since it resides in yourself. Peace, however, is based on the law of exchange that maintains the balance of the universe. through the binomial giving and receiving. So peace, so that you may reap it. When it's not possible for you to provide the security of the environment that you are in, which is filled with restlessness, visualize peace through word and thought. Should I keep going? We have time?
If you want to go to the last paragraphs, like when it says talking.
Yeah. When talking, calm those who listen to you. Writing, articulate images of optimism, confidence, serenity, and joy. Remembering friends or enemies, send them wishes for success on the tasks and commitments they embrace. Whoever they are, help how and when you can, so that all who communicate with you remain in peace and joy. So Emmanuel, this book is from Emmanuel through Chico Xavier.
It's just beautiful. This is so important, an exercise of peace. When you remember friends or enemies, send them wishes, unify ourselves and equalize. When you do editing of audio files, you often need to do equalization. And it's interesting because the song Child of God is literally an equalizer, which will make us feel less angry, for sure, at people in general. We're going to feel like we don't need to feel that we're bigger than anybody. We're just like everybody else. So a good thing to do is to go back to the feeling that you're a child of God. And that is going to give us less anger because we're going to feel less in need of standing out in our relationships. Practicing a little bit of, it's like toning down, saying, I don't need, forgive me for making the reference to our president, but he's a good mirror for us because we are a lot like him. He wants to be up front in the picture and he doesn't care who is going to shove off of him. So he's going to push people aside. And often we are like this in our relationships. We go to Spiritist centers and we don't know how to enter quietly without mentioning about us. We have to enter and say, oh my God, the traffic was terrible. Oh my God, my day was so difficult. And why do we have to put ourselves in the center? We just enter, say, hello, how are you? And go do your task. Or if you don't have a task yet, sit down, relax. I know we like human interaction, but sometimes it's more of a need of attention. Right? In our lives, at work, etc. Right, Shane?
Yes, and when you talk about the Spiritist Center, even if you don't have a task, your task is to pray. So that every time we bring ourselves, our problems, me, mine, we are actually not connecting as well with the good spirits that want to help us. Yes. And then actually making that work around and defending the center, providing the right atmosphere, harder. So as you say many times, we need to be easier on them. And if we focus on others, instead of looking down, I'm much better because I'm not down, we look up and then say, I'm not like Jesus yet, but Jesus will never do that. Our guiding motto will never come, look at me, I'm the governor, I came here to help you all. And you are actually always helping others, always considering the needs of others. Yeah. And even if your traffic was bad, someone in the room may be feeling sick, may having a problem at home, at work, and why not? There's always someone in better need, in greater need.
Yes.
in ourselves.
So let us practice this equalizer. And to practice, I'm gonna play because we can listen to it. The Child of God song that was, I've never played it for the group, but that was once recorded by the Shepherd family. Ready? Ready? Let's go.
I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a spirit living on earth. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I reincarnate to learn to do good. Reincarnation, the path of progress. Reincarnation, the way to become good. Reincarnation, the opportunity to achieve true happiness. You are a child of God. You are a child of God. You are a spirit living on earth. You are a child of God. You are a child of God. You reincarnate to learn to do good. Reincarnation. Reincarnation, the way to become good. Reincarnation, the opportunity to achieve true happiness.
I know we are the children of God, but we're doing great. We're finishing it right already, Shane. Yes, and here we have Mackenzie. Thank you, Vanessa and Shane, for the great conversation full of good tips to improve our anger management and transform its energy into love and peace. Thank you, Mac, for the other day, the other night, and for continuing to inspire us. By the way, Mac Mello and Francisca Kranz are just wrapping up the study of the Sex and Destiny book, and soon after they are going to begin and life goes on. Mama Mia, can't wait for that. Thank you, Rudy. We reincarnate not to reincarnate. Okay, Rudy. So, Shane.
Wishful thinking doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to wish that.
To have a goal.
No, but you want to reincarnate on the earth because it's getting better finally.
By the time we're done with this reincarnation, we have to prepare ourselves on the other side, and by the time we return, we may be already
Exactly.
more good than evil.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Shane, for being with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for your selfless work and helping us every night. We are truly appreciative, and I'm humbled and honored to be here. The mentors are allowing us to be together.
Thank you. And as Rudy saying, you can't help it but to laugh. That's a good idea. An excursion to Jupiter. Oh my Lord, right? I think everybody wants, and I can see here Mark Smith and Carol Correa are here with us. They've been through the app and texting us. So who doesn't want to prepare for an excursion to Jupiter?
We can look at the NASA pictures. I just released beautiful pictures from Juno. So we have a glimpse of the beauty.
Oh man. It's a dream. It's a good aim, right? So have a beautiful night for those who are going to sleep. For those who are continuing your journey, let us keep working on the cooling of our flames of anger and forgiving ourselves, breathing, and always equalizing us with everybody else. And anger one day will no longer knock at the door of our hearts. Thank you, Shane. Thank you for
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
you.